This podcast is brought to you by PodSpot Events.
Hello and welcome to the Bondi podcast. I'm your host, Chris Beattie. The guests in this episode were father and son combo all the way from the UK, Big John and Johnny Fisher. Big John is a social media personality famous for his legendary catchphrase, BOSH. And his son Johnny is a professional boxer, also known as the Romford Bull, currently undefeated and ranked 11th amongst British heavyweight boxers. We went in a slightly different direction with this episode. I'm well aware that in our previous episodes the subject matter has been quite heavy at times, and it's been great to give our guests a platform to tell their story in a safe environment. However, we did have some fun with this episode with our first overseas guests. In this episode we talk about boxing, rugby, food, family, and the origin of the famous catchphrase BOSH. I'd like to thank Big John and Johnny for coming on the podcast for a chat at such short notice while they're in Bondi. I really hope you enjoy this episode, and as always, remember to give us a follow on Instagram at the Bondi Podcast to keep up to date with all of our guests and episodes. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll find all of our episodes on Spotify. Cheers. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Big John and Johnny Fisher, welcome to the Bondi Podcast, lads.
Thank you very much. I met you in the gym this morning and very kindly asked us to come on the podcast, and I thought, why not? And here we are.
Mate, when I saw you in the gym this morning, I just thought, fuck it, I've got to take my chance. Like, if you don't fucking take a chance in life and just ask and go up and say hi to someone, you never know. Of course,
no, it's good. But anyway, forgetting that, it's like someone asks us and we get on. We do things like this. It's good to do them, and we're in Bondi. It makes sense to do the Bondi podcast.
Oh, thanks very much, mate. And Big John, thank you very much for coming on as well, mate.
Am I in Bondi? I thought I was in Las Vegas.
He's had a few beers, so he says he's okay, but I reckon he's still a little bit waved.
I'm all right. I'm fine. I haven't drunk for months and months. And
that's why I think,
someone just shoved 10 pints of Great Northern down.
He doesn't even know what it's called.
Yeah. Well, I think I know the answer to this first question anyway, but the first question we ask all of our guests on the podcast is what their favourite thing about Bondi is. I think you're going to say the 10 pints of Great Northern, Big John.
I'm not. I'm going to say the beach. There's stunning beach and the coastline.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it takes your breath away, so it's lovely.
Was that your first time seeing it today?
First time Bondi. As I say, I've seen a lot of beaches. I've been in Australia a few days now, so had the the privilege of going up to Newcastle. That was fantastic up there, Nobby's Beach. But first time seeing Bondi, yeah. Live up to
the hype?
It did. Like I'm not one that follows a lot of hype and things, because I like the beaches we've got in Cornwall, and I've seen some beaches in Cornwall that rival Bondi, that rival Newcastle, but I appreciate them as much as I appreciate these ones. They're gorgeous. And the only trouble in Cornwall, you haven't got the heat that you've got down there at Bondi.
I guess quite warm, doesn't it?
It's lovely.
And what about you, Johnny? Favourite thing?
You asked me this morning, I've taken a little while to think about it, and I think from where we've met and things, I think the active lifestyle and the gym side of it here. You've got a gym almost every 3 or 4 shops. It's brilliant. I've done a bit of the boxing gym at Rumbles up there. That was great, and it's good to be somewhere everyone's active, everyone's into their fitness, and I think that's very different.
Yeah, mate. That's one of our most common answers. Is people say that sort of 6 a.m. morning fitness crowd, like that sort of vibe.
I like
mate.
that.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great. Brilliant. Well, you need to come back, mate. And
I definitely will. I was thinking there's a lot of Matchroom are doing a lot of boxing shows in Australia at the moment, and they've got a big Australian contingent. So maybe one day, with the support we've got out here, it would be great to box out here one day.
Mate, anytime the boxing or the UFC's on. So the way it works over here is the fights are obviously on a Saturday night wherever they are, right? But the way it works over here, because of the time difference, it's a Sunday afternoon. The pubs are full.
Yeah.
Of Brits and Irish and Australian people watching the UFC, watching the boxing. There's such a demand for it out here.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it's great. It's Australia in general, not just the English and the Irish who are over here. They're sports mad as well, aren't they? So whether it's rugby league or Aussie rules or boxing or UFC.
Don't mention rugby union.
Why? Oh, what? Because of our current predicament.
Big game this weekend, lads. How are you feeling about that? Ireland, England, Twickenham?
England win.
England win, but it's a tough ask, but when you're in Twickenham, it is a fortress, so it's going to be hard.
Not as much lately, but I think England will win.
Scotland. I was very impressed by that Ferre Boso when he came on. He was brilliant at the winger, and I think we've got to try and, why not, if we're in this predicament right now, throw a few younger players in.
The only reason I say that is I've grown up as an England rugby fan, and we've been in positions where England, you're going to win, and we've ended up losing. So I'm hoping England just throw it around for once, turn it around, And listen, I love the Ireland rugby team. I've got a lot of friends in the Irish rugby team. But it'd just be nice to see England get a win at home.
I see Andrew Porter message you from time to time, John.
Good man.
Yeah, he's a good man. David Kilcoyne, another good friend of
James
ours.
Ryan, Bundyaki.
Conor Murray.
Yeah, they're good people, and we've got a lot of respect for the Irish rugby team. But we're England fans.
Yeah.
So hopefully England can win.
And that's what makes it good, you know?
We'll see. Yeah. Look, lads, you are our first overseas guests that we've had on the podcast. We usually just have locals on the podcast, like interesting people in the local community. What brought you to Australia?
Well, down to him really. There's a events company called Invades who do a lot of events in universities, taking students to race courses over there. And I think Dom and Invades got you involved because they saw your following over in Australia, and they thought he's the man to drive the sales, and it's going well so far, isn't it? Yeah,
I've done a lot of work with Invades in England. Dom's a good bloke, and we come over here and we had a sellout in Newcastle, 3,000 people. Sydney's already at 1,500. It's just a good thing.
We've got Canberra on Sunday, haven't you?
Canberra on Sunday. We've got Sydney on Saturday, Canberra on Sunday, and then Perth on the 16th of March.
And Melbourne as well.
And are these all race days? Or
one's a dogs racing.
Race days, the only dog racing is Melbourne.
Okay.
On the 13th of March.
Yeah, so it's horse racing, but it's good. There's you normally do nightclub events. That's what you started off with our good friend Fred Goodall. You remember the first time you said you'd done it and you thought someone winded him up?
I thought it was a joke, yeah.
I thought it was a joke.
Being asked to go
I put the phone down on him. He rang me, he said, I want you to do a nightclub appearance. I put the phone down on him. He kept persisting. He said, look, I know someone who knows Johnny. And even it was in Oxford. And even up to the first night, I was going into the hotel and I thought someone's going to come out of a phone and say, got ya. And I said to my wife, at least have a night in a hotel in Oxford and then treat myself, have a swim and come back in the morning. But we done the first one in Oxford with Fred at Fishes. And it just literally snowballed. I've been Las Vegas with it. I've been Magaluf, Ibiza, Zante, all over.
You sound like David Brent when he goes.
Yeah,
I've got a Didcot. I've got a Yateley.
Yeah.
Slough's a big place.
I'm not David Brent. I'm just saying facts. And he's brought me to Australia. And a little story. I went to what's it called, Circular Quay, with the Opera House, the Harbour Bridge. Takes your breath away. And I sat there. And it just hit me, it just hit me, because I'm a normal working bloke, and it hit me that I'm being paid to come over here all this way, iconic place. And it hit me, and then I got a little bit emotional. I said, they have a go at me, but I thought of my dad who's passed now 12 years, and he always wanted to go to Australia to see the bridge and the Opera House. He never got to make it. And it hits you, and you think, here I am, a fat old bloke, having the opportunity to come over and do that. And it's truly amazing. I'm still very humbled by it every day.
Must be pinching yourself, John.
Yeah, I am. It's amazing, and you walk around wherever you walk, people are wanting your photo and your video. And I'm nothing special. I don't do anything. It's just, it's nuts.
Mate, don't put yourself down, mate. Like you've put yourself out there and you put a smile on so many people's face. Like you put a smile on my face, you put a smile on all my friends' face.
Yeah, if you can make one person smile, you've done a good job. But it still feels surreal. I've worked hard all my life, getting up 4 o'clock in the morning, bringing up my family with my wife, Charlotte. And now you're still working, don't get me wrong. It's not easy. You've got to meet people, you've got to do things. But it's a lot easier than getting a van, driving 15, 16 hours every day, hoping you're going to get paid by people. And, so long may it continue. It don't last forever. And when I meet people that call themselves influencers or TikTokers or YouTubers, I don't call myself anything of that. They don't realise it's a small cycle. So you've got to get out what you can while you're doing it and enjoy it as much as you can.
So, John, was that what you were doing before the Bosch thing took off, driving vans?
Yeah, I had a cheese firm. I still got the cheese firm. I work with my main supplier, J.S. Bailey, now, so I don't have to physically do it. But worked all my life since the age of 18.
So how did the Bosch thing come about in the first place?
I was known for videos with my Chinese, Henry. He does our social medias. He just used to put videos of me on TikTok without me knowing.
Not just Chinese.
When was this? Like
this
2-3 years ago?
About 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah.
2019. And it wasn't just Chinese. It would be him moaning about my mum's cooking if it was burnt or...
And I had no clue it was going on TikTok. I don't even watch TikTok.
He didn't know
myself.
at first. And then he was at Romford in the brewery, and the people were asking for their pictures of him. He didn't know what it was about. And he said, you're on TikTok, you're on TikTok.
I said, at my house. What the hell's TikTok?
He didn't know what it was, but now he's become a little bit more, he understands it a little bit. He's still not very good at it.
And then
I think it was why people like it, because he's very raw with what he does on social media.
And the Bosch, I just said Bosch after one video, because we used to say it when I was a kid. And I just said Bosch, and I said it in a way. Didn't think nothing of it. And then I had about 2,000 messages. Why are you not saying Bosch? Like after videos, I didn't say it. We like the way you say Bosch. We like the way you say Bosch.
And then said it like Bosch.
You said it in so many different ways, John. There's so many varieties.
That's what I did, like, because people from different countries, what's the Bosch for this country? And we've spread it around the world with the help of Johnny, with his fans, and Henry's social media expertism. It's just from something that no one was chasing or anything. You know, we go to America, people come up, do the American Bosch, and it was nuts down at Bondi Beach today. You know, so many people coming up. We're just sitting there having a beer. No one knew we was there. We didn't advertise it. People just coming up. So as I say, long may it continue. It won't last forever, but it's, as you say, if you can put a smile on someone's face, then all well and good.
Are you aware of how much it's actually infiltrated, like, just common parlance now? So to give you an example, there's a group of friends I have over here, and we meet and greet each other and say goodbye to each other just by saying Bosh.
I realise, without sounding like David Brent, that I've spread it around the world. I do realise.
It's gone worldwide. Slough's a big place.
Yeah, it's good. No, I do realise that, because people, like, a lot of people say Bosch. Anyone can say it. But I'm the one that spread it around the world.
It's the way you say it, though,
Bosch.
John. It's the way you say it.
Like, Bosh. You know, people like that. They like it. If you're a young man, young woman, even, it's like
it is
older people
addictive.
now.
It's a subconscious thing, I think. Like, I sometimes found, because I don't think of it. I don't think of Bosch. It just subconsciously comes to you, doesn't it? Like, you'll say it, like, you'll pack everything away, or you'll complete a task, and it will just be there. Bosh. Finish my 5K. Bosh.
And you do it in different voices, different tones, different voices. You know, when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're angry.
Yeah, sad Bosh. Oh, Bosh.
Yeah, Bosh.
It's infiltrated. It's a universal thing, isn't it? It's easy. It's inoffensive, and everyone can say it.
Oh, yeah, no, totally agree. And then, Johnny, from your perspective, like, you've obviously, I'm just really interested to hear how it is from your perspective, because you've just seen, you know, this thing take off with your dad. You're obviously trying to build this boxing career, but your dad's profile is just
skyrocketed. Well, it started off, you were selling tickets for my first fight after lockdown. I had 3 fights during lockdown. The third one was in Eddie Earn's garden, and the fourth one was at the O2, and the first time we could actually sell tickets. And at that point, it wasn't really, I was still bigger than you.
You had a lot more followers, didn't you?
And then people saw you were selling the tickets, and you got a bit of exposure from being on the YouTube channels, being on the Zones channels and stuff, and then you became a personality in yourself. And I think it's complemented each other, the boxing career side of it, and then your followers as well. And it's grown, and you've obviously overtaken. But now, if I can take 1% of the people that go and see Big John, it's great for my boxing career as well. And they complement each other very, very well. And mine will be slow burning, and I've got to keep going. And my goals they're slightly different to what your goals are, which is basically to earn a bit of money.
Earn a living,
yeah. My goals is to get as far as I can in boxing, still earn a living, but do it in my way.
At the end of the day, we are entwined, like his followers, my followers, we're entwined. But at the end of the day, as a dad, I never chased anything. You know, not in one part, but he's the important one. He's the one that gets in the ring. He gets hurt for a living. I eat chicken balls for a living. So it's all about him. I want to see him surpass me 10 times over. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? It's not, I never chased it. He's the one that needs the following, needs it. And if we can help that in any way, which is great, then so be it.
Just a dad supporting a son at the end of the day.
Totally. I support all my children. I've got 3 boys, 1 daughter. And you give your life for your kids. You know that if you're a parent, you'd walk in front of a train right now, you know, and you do that any day of the week, any time. So if I could help him along the way, getting him support, then. But he's helped me get support as well. This is what people don't realise. As he said, when it first started, he was a lot bigger than me, and people knew me as Johnny's dad. You know, I mean, you get it on socials. Oh, you're just living off your son. You're just.
Yeah, but then another time it'll be me, I'm living off of him. Yeah. But I'm like, well, yeah, we are.
We done a Chinese video the other night, and it's gone like 3.5 million views on Instagram, just off the cuff, getting the Chinese out the back of the car, 6 bags of Chinese, because we had 20 odd people around our house for his birthday for a Chinese. And one of the comments was, oh, they're both fat and overweight. And, you know, you're thinking, yeah, I'm fat and overweight, but he's not fat and overweight.
But it doesn't affect me, like, the comments about that. And what I don't understand is when they say you're living off my name or I'm living off your name. Well, no, we're both on the same journey. So
It doesn't matter.
It
If
doesn't
he
matter.
lives off my name, I couldn't
It doesn't
care less.
I don't care if he
live
lives off my name.
It
It doesn't matter. That's the whole point.
That's
We're
family.
family.
Team
Yeah.
Fisher at the end of the day, isn't
Yeah,
it?
you see it.
Yeah.
So,
They're both there for each other.
If William wanted to get involved, he gets involved
He
sometimes.
does.
It doesn't matter.
Henry's got his own business now.
That's actually where it really started. Before it all blew up. William, our little brother, the blonde one, 6'7", a character himself, looks like a cheese string.
Looks like an anemic Dolph Lundgren.
He does, yeah. It looks like Dolph Lundgren if he didn't do any weights.
Yeah.
But he was the main one before. Wilbertross, his name was, and we used to make videos for fun. We always have Love Island spoof videos, him going doing
If you go
dancing
back,
videos.
Wilbertross on YouTube, he's him everywhere.
It's all about him. And
Yeah.
he is a personality in himself, but I think he's like a character where he doesn't care. He's not bothered about. He's just take it or leave it, and he's got his job in insurance. He loves that, but he's the one who's got a massive personality, and he could develop it much more. But that's why we meet. We don't do it
Again, nothing's planned. He was
we
playing.
just do
He was
things
doing
naturally.
a bit of laugh, like having a laugh, taking the mickey out of their younger brother.
Yeah.
That's what that
So
was.
that's what I mean. It's like we've never planned anything. It's just we just put ourselves out there naturally, just try and be as authentic as we can. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah, beautiful. And Johnny, like, do you find, obviously having a dad with such a high profile as he does that have a bit of a target on your back in the boxing world? Do people come at you, wanting to knock out Big John's son, for example?
Yeah, but it doesn't. People say all different things. People say whatever they want. Whatever they say, it doesn't affect me because I've got my own mission. And the more people talk about me, the better it is for me. So I know what I've got to do. I've got to fight a man who's going to try and knock me out no matter what, whether I've got Big John or not. So when I get in the ring, all of that stuff about TikTok, about Chinese, it all goes out the window. Me and another man are going to have a fight. It doesn't matter if I've got 10,000 followers or 1 million followers. All of that stuff's irrelevant.
Exactly, mate. And one other thing I wanted to get your perspective on, Johnny. Obviously, this has taken off over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Have you seen any change in him? I think I know the answer. But have you seen any change in him? He seems pretty down to earth to me, pretty humble guy.
Yeah, he is. He is. We don't have to worry about that because my mum will keep us all in check. We all keep each other in check. And
I've got a good story about that.
Yeah.
When you go to these nightclubs, like you have photos with everyone, young girls, young men, and they're like university age. And I'm an old man, so nothing untoward comes into it. But I make sure when I have my photos, I have my hands like that on people's shoulders, so you can't be accused of doing anything. So every photo's like that, so I can't be accused by my wife of doing anything either. And we had one photos once, and there was like 2 attractive young ladies. I'm like that. And when I got home the next day, my wife says, "Oh, that photo weren't right." I said, "What? My hands were where they should be." She went, "Your eyes were enjoying it too much." So now I've got to go like that and wear glasses.
And close your eyes, mate.
Yeah, close your eyes. But
it's good to have my mum's good for us because she can be a bit too much sometimes, but it's good to be
Karen.
like that.
She can be a Karen.
She can be a bit of a Karen, but in a good way because she does keep us in check, and that's what you want. You want someone who's gonna keep you grounded. Henry does as well. William does. Hetty, they all chime in, but that's good because that's what families are for, right?
but your mum, my wife Charlotte, she's the one that keeps us all.
She's the boss?
Yeah, she said, yes, I'm the boss.
But we do it.
I think I'm the boss.
We keep ourselves in check anyway because you never want to be one of them arrogant, horrible people. You know, you just.
I meet them all the time, as I said to you. And if I ended up like that, I said to them, because we do nothing. You just, it is what it is. And people get above themselves. And no one can be above themselves, even professional footballers, boxers. Treat people how you want to be treated yourself.
Yeah.
And if any of us got above ourselves, there'd be someone to tell them within the family.
Sounds like a good dynamic, lads.
It is very good. It is. And we're just normal people. And hopefully Johnny can carry on boxing for a few more years, win a few titles, earn a bit of money and get out.
Listen, with my boxing, it's never been, listen, you want to go as far as you can, and I'll keep trying to win fights and I'll keep trying to go up the levels. But if I can earn a good living, pay off my house, maybe have a bit more over than that, you can't wish for much more than that because I see professional boxers who are great and talented, but they
earn nothing.
They lose money fighting. So I'm in a very privileged position, not only because of my hard work, I know that, but it's also because people want to pay their hard-earned money to come and watch me. Out of my hand, I sell as many tickets as anyone in Great Britain. So I'm very, very grateful for the people, especially in these hard economic times when they've got to pay. If I fight in Liverpool, they've got to pay not only for their ticket, but their travel and where they've got to stay up there. 200 people even came over to Vegas for me. But when I fight in England now, I'll be expecting 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 people.
Johnny's very fortunate. He's got a big following and he does what he does. He's got good sponsors behind him as well, good people backing him from day one. And if you haven't got that, it's very hard Because from day one, Johnny could be a full-time professional. A lot of boxers
don't get
can't
that luxury.
do that.
A lot of them are working on building sites or
Yeah.
electricians
It's
or
hard.
doing something else. And a lot of my sponsors as well, they don't really want much out of it.
Yeah.
They're just genuine people from where I live or grew up, or people we've met on the journey who want to be part of the journey and want to be part of the experience. And I think for some people, that's the valuable nature of it. Of course, you get sponsors that want exposure, and I can give that. But it's great to have people that genuinely just want to be involved as well.
And I'd say nearly all of Johnny's sponsors just want to be on it as well, to be part of it. They're enjoying it.
That's
They
a
all
big
agree.
thing for a lot of them, which is great, because it means that people are out there because they want to be on your team, not just they want to get something out for themselves, which is, of course, I've got to offer that, and I want to offer that, because I'm not just trying to do it all for myself, but I want to give something back. But to have people that are on your team, they want you to win, that's a massive plus as well.
Fantastic, mate. Look, let's get into the boxing then. So 11 fights, undefeated, 10 knockouts.
Yep.
Seems to be going pretty well, mate.
It is going well. It's great. I've got a great team behind me. They guide me. Got Matchroom, got SJM Boxing, got my dad. He's an input in a sense. You stay away from the boxing side of it, but if I need to lend some advice from someone who's from my immediate family, I go to him. But I've got great people, not only my management and my promoters, but I think of Jess Harding, who's someone who's helped me, and I get advice off of him. I've got my trainer, Mark Tibbs. I've got experienced people, and you pick up things along the way. I sparred with Tyson Fury, pick up advice off of him and John Fury, and even just the sparring things. When you spar people, that's what brings you and develops you. And I'm in a position now. I just turned 25 last week. I'm in a great position to keep progressing forward now.
So sparring with Tyson Fury, what's that like?
It's great. It was brilliant. I sparred him before the Wilder 3 fight, so it's a couple of years ago now. I must have only been, I think I just turned 22. Well, I was 22 at the time, and I left a mark with him. I think with Tyson, I think he was impressed by me. We sparred only a couple of times, but him and his dad said, "You brought the heat. You've got an exciting style, and people will tune in to watch that." And it was nice to have their advice. They said, "Only worry about yourself." There's a lot of people in this game who want a piece of you, which is true. He's been at the top of the mountain. He is at the top of the mountain, and there's no one better to get advice on that. And he's right. In boxing especially, you have to look after number one, because if you don't look after number one, that's when things go wrong.
So how does something like that come about? Like, how does the offer to spar with Tyson Fury even come about in the first place?
Well, Sam Jones used to manage me. He used to be part of SJM Boxing, my manager, and he was really the one who first sort of spotted me and thought, he saw me boxing down at Exeter University, and I sold about 500, 600 tickets there in the student union bar. And he said, come out and spar in Vegas, went out there, and then when he was in the early part of my career, he said, come and spar Tyson Fury, and I couldn't believe it, because I'm a boxing fan first and foremost. Sparring Tyson Fury is 22 years old and only had 3 fights at that time. And
what's going on in your head when you get that offer through the door, mate?
I was hitting, the first thing I think about when you say that is I was hitting a heavy bag, warming up to go and spar Tyson. I thought, how the hell have I ended up here? A couple of years ago, I was at university studying history, doing my dissertation, selling meat on the Van View during lockdown, and then all of a sudden, within less than a year from that point, I'm about to spar the best heavyweight on the planet, and I thought, I better give it a good go and leave a mark, because if I don't give it a good go, then what's the point of being here, you know? So it was great. It was a surreal experience.
And Big John, you must be proud of him when you hear, hey, Tyson Fury's going to be sparring with my boy.
Yeah, listen, as I said, I'm proud of all my children, proud of Johnny. He works hard. He knows that. You can't big him up because he's sitting next to you, but he's a good son. He's a good man. And I know that he puts everything into what he does. Don't leave anything, no stone left unturned. And yeah, when you're sparring Tyson Fury, and then afterwards Fury and his dad gave Johnny advice and said how well he'd done, it's good, you know, as a dad, it's you can't ask for any more.
Did you get a chat with John Fury?
I've met John Fury a couple of times, met Tyson a couple of times. They're good people.
Yeah.
They're honest, down-to-earth, humble people. No matter what you hear or see on the thing, when you're with them face to face,
they're good.
They're good people.
They're good
I think
people.
they're brilliant.
They're
Like,
brilliant.
Yeah. I'm a fan of both of them. Like, I think they're
They're
absolutely
good
brilliant.
people.
When we were sparring, it was just coming off. It was during COVID, or Tyson was scared of catching COVID again, because I think he caught COVID just before that third fight, and then he had to put an extension on the fight camp to get over COVID. And it was just his coach, Tyson Fury, and then the 2 or 3 sparring partners there. So it was very, very strange experience.
It's quite intimate. That,
It was.
isn't it?
It was in Morecambe United, a little room in Morecambe United, up the stairs. We was all staying in Morecambe. Not much going on in Morecambe. Very peaceful, great people there, very friendly, but a very quiet town. So it was.
It's not like Bondi.
No, it's not like Bondi, but
Beach is nice, but it's not as hot.
Yeah, it was nice, but yeah, it was a very surreal experience, and I think things like that are what build you as a young fighter. And I'd encourage any young boxer or any young athlete, take yourself out of your comfort zone. When I was training for my last fight in Vegas, I went and trained in Vegas for 6 weeks before, and I've been there a few times before, but taking away all my home comforts, that was sometimes you need to do that. I got cut in the first week of sparring as well, so that was another thing I had to deal with. I couldn't spar for the whole camp.
Was that the cut in the nose, mate?
Yeah,
Wow.
I spent 1 week just walking because I couldn't stretch the stitches.
I got out there to assist with the camp, and the first thing I was told, I had no Wi-Fi on the plane. First thing I was told was, he's been cut, 5 stitches, might not be able to fight. So we had to calm everything down, and then we just went walking for a week.
Because the main thing is, when you're a boxer, you've got to earn your living. You don't get paid unless you fight. So I invested thousands of pounds into the camp, going out there early, getting the training.
Invested it himself. No one helps you. You do it yourself. And
boxers have that all the time. If people pull out or get injured, you can invest tens of thousands into training camp, sometimes more than that, and you might not get paid at the end of it. So that's the main thing. You have to keep yourself fit. You keep yourself healthy.
plus, the other problem with that, when you got cut, like 200 people have spent fortunes.
Yeah, that was playing on my mind.
That was like a big worry.
And my friend Jake, who's a good friend of mine, he was out there with me and he was starting to panic. He was saying, Johnny, we can just tell people you can't fight. We'll postpone it to a few weeks later. There's a show in Orlando. They can all come out for a holiday. I'm like, no, we can't do that. People have paid their hard-earned money to watch me come and fight, and they want to see me on the bill with the other guys. So I'm glad we done it and got it through, and it was
We had to keep it a secret.
Yeah, couldn't tell anyone.
How difficult's that?
But every photo was a photo of the back of him. When we done videos, it's the back of
If I was at a restaurant, I was covering myself with a menu.
No one found out.
Yeah, but you can't let your opponent know either, because they get confident.
Exactly.
You know, if they know you're not sparring for.
Couldn't let anyone know. Only about 5 people knew that he'd cut himself.
So when you say you have to walk for a week, what does that actually mean? That sounds like
Just walking up and down the strip, just keeping ourselves busy.
We was doing 20,000 steps every day, just walking.
You couldn't do weights or anything like that?
Couldn't do nothing.
Not for the first 5-6 days.
First training session he was on the pads and 2 stitches came out where your face expands.
So good job I didn't go and train, because that's a very tight part of your nose. And when I put a post on after the fight about my nose, people were immediately comparing it to Tyson Fury's cut, because he had a cut in his camp recently for the Usyk fight, and it's completely different. Mine's on my nose, so if I get cut in the fight, it's not an issue because I can see.
Why were they doing that?
What, Tyson?
Yeah, why were they comparing it? Like,
I don't know. People on Instagram and social media.
Yeah. Trying to stir things up.
Yeah.
Johnny's just talking about himself. Tyson Fury's cut was bang over his eye.
Completely different. If you get cut on your eye, it's pretty much game over, because if that comes open in the fight, in a big fight like that, an undisputed fight, I wasn't fighting for an undisputed. I was fighting a credible guy, 110, lost 1, big unit, but it's a different stakes. I wasn't fighting for the undisputed heavyweight title against Alexander Usyk, and he's fighting and it's on his eye. If Tyson got a nick on his nose or got cut on the side, it might be different. But if you get cut on your eye and it comes open in the fight, you can't see. If this comes open in the fight, I'll be fine. It's just being able to make sure that I can actually get cleared to fight. That's what I had to be careful of, you know. So it's better to keep it hidden.
And how was Vegas overall, lads? How was the trip?
Unbelievable.
He loves Vegas, Big John.
He was telling me before we started recording. How many times have you been?
I've been about 5 times now.
Is that the first time you fought over there, Johnny?
First time I fought there. I've done 3 or 4 training camps there with my good friend Joe Joyce. Helped him before the Joseph Parker fight. I sparred Carlos Takam over there a couple of years ago.
It's different gravy for the training as well. I mean, Johnny's got great trainers here, Mark Tibbs, Jimmy Tibbs, but when you train over there, it's intense, like nothing.
The sparring is different. The sparring, sometimes you spar in England and it's a little move around. You do get tear-ups as well, but over there, everyone's trying to prove a point, especially if you're an English guy, a British guy going over, or anyone from Europe, you're over there, you're in their domain, you're in their house, and they want to prove a point. I sparred a good guy called Ardy in the last spar. It was only a body spar, but it was great sparring. He was ripping into me. He's from the Congo. He's a big, strong man, and he's had to do it the hard way. Some similar stories got to Francis Ngannou. Like, he's had to do it the hard way, and a very, very nice man. But you could tell from that in the top-ranked gym, everyone crowding around the ring. You know, it's a different mentality. But Vegas is a great place, and
how was the night out after? Surely you won the fight, Johnny.
Yeah,
big night after, John.
Because it was in the afternoon. It was an afternoon show, which I thought was fantastic.
To suit the UK viewers.
To suit the UK viewers, we went to a place called Gillies in Treasure Island, which is like a line dancing bar. And
Yeah, it was
everyone,
brilliant. Little
we
country
had about
bar.
100, 150 of us in there. Brilliant night. And then back 9 o'clock, we'd had about 3-4 hours. I said to Johnny, right, we've got to... Everyone was happy, no bother, no trouble.
Yeah.
And then everyone started going their own ways.
Yeah.
You know,
But it
and
was
I
brilliant.
got a Chinese and took it back to my hotel room, so I was happy.
When I fight and after the fight, one of the main things for me is seeing all the people who have had a good time. That really is one of the motivating factors. When I see people when I'm on the morning of the fight, I see them all making their way up. They will do a bar call. They'll go to Robin's Pie Mash and Cafe Royale, our local cafe before, and seeing everyone mobilising. That's a big kick for me, and I enjoy that. And I've got, while we're on the subject of Vegas, I've got to give a big shout out to a great friend and sponsor of mine, Jonathan Jossel. But he let all of our guests stay there at a discounted rate. He looked after me at the whole camp. The Plaza Las Vegas, the most iconic hotel in Las Vegas, I would say.
Downtown.
If you've seen Casino with Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, it's all filmed in there. And it's just a surreal place. And we'll be going back there for sure. And Jonathan is a top man.
We've
so
been there. I've
thank you.
done a bit with Jonathan a couple of times and been over there a few times, but he backed Johnny to the hilt and he sat next to me during the fight, him and his wife. And just unbelievable to make friendships like that through like a business side, but you become friends as well. And yeah, massive thank you to the Plaza Hotel.
That's what life's all about, mate.
Yeah.
Hey, Big John, what do you like when he's in the ring? How's the heart?
Yeah, nerves.
Yeah?
And you get
Keep
people
him away.
You get people. I stay well away from Johnny. Fight night before the fight, day before the fight. Don't see him.
Send him a message?
No, nothing. He's got his team. They're professional. Let them get on with it. I'm just a dad then with Charlotte, my wife. We're mum and dad, and you go and sit down. I always sit down, watch all the fights, respect to the other boxers, go and watch them, and hopefully you're left alone, like with Hetty, and Hetty couldn't make it because she had mocks, but William was there. But then you always get people coming up to you wanting photos when he's coming out, or they don't mean it, they don't mean nothing, but in that moment it's your son at the end of the day, and it's his whole career is in, anything can happen.
It could all finish in that one fight.
Anything can come crumbling down.
It's your livelihood. You can get an injury or you can get... But I don't think about that in the fight, obviously. You've got like a tunnel vision. And I get better every time I fight. It's like anything. You do it 11 times, it's much easier to deal with than the first time. And I do think of it as I'm enjoying myself now. I'm enjoying it and I'm getting more relaxed, and there's still so much more to come. Jess Harding, I said earlier, is a good friend of mine, good advisor. He said it right, you don't get good till you have 20 fights, and I can see that process now. If you look at my first fight and my 11th fight, I'm a lot more cool, calm and collected, and I know when to rough it up and go for it, and I'm trying to be a bit more controlled in how I use my aggression, So it's been great. The journey's been brilliant so far, and I'm heading in the right direction.
That's fantastic, mate. And that sort of leads on to where I wanted to take the conversation next, Johnny.
Yeah.
You're a Matchroom. That's
Yes.
that's Eddie Hearn's
Yeah.
company, isn't it? So is Eddie? How does it work? Is Eddie your promoter? Do you have much direct contact with him? And do you will you sit down with him and sort of plan, your next 10 fights? What does this look like over the next 5 years?
Yeah, so Eddie Hearn's my promoter of Matchroom Boxing. I talked to Barry Hearn as well, who's the old school guy who done it from the beginning. But I've got managers, and their job is to liaise with the promoters. And they do their jobs. I do my job, which is to train and to fight. And we do have a talk. We spoke at Christmas time about the plans and rough plans. But for me, I don't look further ahead than the next fight, because if I start trying to plan too far ahead, you overlook what's in front of you. You've seen it 1,000 times before. Think of Tyson Fury thinking about the Usyk fight. He took his eye off the ball with Francis Ngannou. And I still believe that he won that fight by 1 or 2 rounds, Tyson Fury. But it wasn't the polished performance he would have wanted, and he said that himself. So the key takeaway is don't plan too far ahead. Let your promoters do their job. Let your managers do their job. I worry about fighting the man who's next. That's all I've got to do.
And who is next?
That's what we've got to find out.
There's nothing in the diary at the
We're
minute?
fighting May or June.
Okay.
So when I get back from here, that's why I'm using this. Is not, I don't drink obviously, but you see me in the gym. I'll just get a bit of baseline fitness in, and we'll find out as and when. But as I said, we think about what's next. What's next is we're on tour in Australia. I'm getting myself into some sort of shape. When I get back, I'll deal with what's next. That's how I go through life. Don't worry about too much. Be in the present moment, and then the bigger picture will unfold.
Amazing. Mate, I didn't realise you were on the undercard for that event in Eddie's back garden. How was that?
That was brilliant.
So that was during COVID, wasn't it?
That was in COVID. So
tell me a bit about that.
So there was one the year before when it was like completely shut down, and the second time round, the year after, they done it with 1,000 fans in the garden. It was a surreal experience. I remember, because the Matchroom offices there is where Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn grew up. That was their family home. And I was walking out. You go through the house and obviously go down into it, and I could see you getting interviewed by Cooper.
Were you there as well,
Cassius.
John?
Yeah. He was there. He'd had about 8 pizzas through stress eating, and I see him. I thought I was about to walk out, and I saw him being interviewed by our good friend Coogan for IFL, and I thought he definitely don't want to be getting interviewed now. And it
He said to me, Coogan said to me, "I'm going to do you." Just before Johnny's coming out, I went, "You're all right, Coogan." I didn't really know him that well then, so I didn't know how to take it. And just as he's coming out on his ring walk, he does an interview with me.
And is this when you're most nervous, Big
Yeah,
John?
yeah, and he done it on purpose. He knew what he was doing. But the surreal part of that, Johnny tells me off for saying surreal, but he said it a few times himself. The surreal part of that night was you're in like this tent in the garden, you're having pizza, you're having this, you're going in, and then you come out and you see the ring and you think, Jesus, yeah, I'm here for boxing.
It was a great event, that. It's one that you only
brilliant.
box. It's not happened again since, is it? And it's been about 3-4 years now, and it's brilliant. Like my supporters who were lucky enough to go there, I remember Justin Blue was there, wasn't he? Ollie Harris, one of my...
And you was fighting Danny Whitaker, who had a winning record then. It's only your
my
third fight.
Yeah, and he'd fought for a Central Area title in his fight
Lost on
before.
points, yeah.
But it's good for my people in that event. Derek Chijora's walking around, Dillian White's walking around, Joe Joyce is walking around, and it was a great spectacle. And Matchroom are the best at that in terms of the production of things. They go above and beyond, and they always put on a great production for people and value for money when they go and watch.
How far can he go, Big John? He's in the heavyweight division. There's a lot of competition there.
Listen, I look at the British rankings. Johnny's 11th
in the heavyweight division
in the Britain, and I look above and there's like someone with their feet on the ground. I look at 6 or 7 and I think, yeah, Johnny can give them a good fight. I won't necessarily say you'll beat them, but you'll give them a good fight and you'll have a 50-50 chance with them. So if he keeps working, keeps learning, hopefully fight for a British title one day. Yeah. And then hopefully if you can win that, then you see how far you can go.
I'd love to win a British title. If I end my career and all I've won, other than the southern area, which I've got now, which I'm very, very proud of as well, if I could win a British title and be among the names of the Lennox Lewises, the Anthony Joshuas, the Henry Coopers, you go back through history, there's some great historic names, historic belt, I'd be over the moon. And as you said, I keep my feet on the ground. I know I don't go around and talk brash and say, I'm going to beat this one, I'm going to do that. I know if I train hard and I'm fit on the night and I'm focused, I've got a chance of giving anyone a tough fight because I can punch and I'm fit and I'm determined. And that doesn't mean I'm saying I'm going to beat anyone, but all you got to know is if you fight me on the night, I'm going to give it 110% and I'm going to keep going until you've knocked me out. So you better be able to do that.
Good luck, mate. Look, I feel like emotionally invested in the journey now, mate. So
you're part of it now.
Yeah, mate.
You're a Bosch soldier.
Yes.
Was that a Bosch shoulder?
You're a Bosch soldier.
Bosch die soldier.
Fantastic to talk about the boxing journey there,
yeah.
Johnny. Big John, I want to flip it back onto you now, mate. What are some of the... So obviously we talked earlier about this has sort of taken off over the last 2 or 3 years. What are some of the coolest things or the best experiences that you've had as part of this sort of Bosch mania?
Just like... going to Ibiza, going to Zante, going to Magaluf, being here in Australia, great country, great people.
Vegas,
I went to Vegas as part of this as well. Forget about Johnny's boxing. I went to Vegas.
Promote the plaza.
Yeah, and it's just, and the people that come on to you and contact you, and it's just...
You go with Chineses with people up the city. And
yeah, you get paid to have Chineses for a living.
In the Dorchester.
Yeah, it's just, but even that, like people like Ben Stokes follow you and Eddie Hall,
Lewis Capaldi,
Lewis Capaldi, and just
Brian O'Driscoll as well.
Yeah,
I looked
today. He's a legend.
You can't believe it.
It's nuts.
Conor McGregor follows you, mate.
Conor McGregor, and
he went straight past me and
come up and said, "Big John." There's a video of it on my Instagram.
But another one, we went to watch Ireland train. You meet Paul O'Connell. He's a legend.
We're English rugby fans, but we respect the Irish team, what they're doing at the minute, and what they've done in the past players. And for us, as a father and son who love rugby, we got the chance to watch Ireland train when they're number 1 in the world, and they're good people, they're good men.
Bondi was a good man.
Yeah, they're all good men. They're all good men, and it was just that's even though I'm an England rugby fan, we've been to Twickenham a lot. To go and watch the Irish team train was an honour as an Englishman. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because although we're Englishmen, we're sportsmen as well. And Ireland beat England quite easily that game. We watched the game the day after. But it's sport. That's what happens. Ireland on top of the game, England aren't. So that's what happens. But yeah, just things like that. You're being invited to places. And I was with David Guetta in Ibiza. He's like a VIP guest with him. And they wanted, David Guetta wanted to have drinks with us afterwards, but I couldn't because I had already said that I was going to have dinner with Oscar Goodman a former mob boss lawyer, and I didn't want to let him down.
You don't want to let a mob boss
No,
lawyer
but
down.
it's just,
Like, at the end
it's
of the
just
day.
you know, that's just what it's like. You know, you're a normal bloke. You can do what you can do, and that's it. But it's nuts.
And John, there's some bad aspects of it. You touched on it earlier, like internet trolls is probably a big one for you guys.
I don't see. Like when I go to nightclub appearances as well, I'll touch on this. 99.9% people are as good as gold. They're pleased to see you. You get the odd one. They want to pull you. They want to touch you. They want to dig you with their eye. Like, I'll give it back. I'm a normal bloke. If you ever go at me, I'll ever go back. No matter what I'm doing, no matter what I'm there for. If anyone comes up and has a go at me, I'll ever go back. And it's the same on social media. And they say to me, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" But I can take anything because we put ourselves out there. But when people ever go at your family, or I won't. And I say to anyone with any trial, I just say, "Look, you're more than welcome to come and say that to my face." And I say that to anybody out there now. If anyone's got something to say to me, say it to my face. Don't hide behind a camera. But it's part of it. I'm over here in Australia, you know, people coming up to you, and these people are probably sitting at home.
And the
doing
thing with
nothing.
the people that are haters as well, the people that do hate the anonymous accounts, I always think it's probably people you know as well.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah,
Probably
that's
is.
what
A
I
lot of
think
them.
in my
A lot of them are probably people you know that don't like to see you do well. You know.
But it's not about that. You get 99% of people are good as gold. We're not saying we're anything special. We just got good following and people are good. And if we get on with you, we get on with you. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch. But
I wouldn't dream, like you said, oh, Brian, I wouldn't dream going on his account and saying,
Saying you're crap at
oh,
rugby,
your
or
wife's going to die of a heart attack, or you're going to die of a heart attack, and you're
Is that the sort of thing you get, John?
oh yeah, heart attack. Listen, I'm
me,
over,
and me,
and
I'm getting
Johnny.
a heart attack.
Yeah.
The people think that I'm gonna have a heart attack. Keep eating like this. They don't understand that I'm not eating Chinese every day, every week.
Let me tell you something. I'm overweight, but I was always fit. I was fit as a fiddle when I was young, up to about the age of 30. So that's probably helped me carry this weight even now. But I have heart checks, I have health checks. And yeah, I'm not going to abuse my body like what people think you do. But they say things to you as if they know what you are and what you got. And there's people out there with genuine problems with their heart and diabetes and, everything else.
That, you know.
But
he's lost 6 stone now, haven't you?
Yeah, I was going to say,
yeah.
John, like, I think I saw...
I'll put it back on at the Bondi Beach tonight, though.
Yeah, 10 pints deep.
Yeah, well, I regret that now.
I think I saw you put a few posts out there recently about cutting down on the booze. Is that...
Yeah, until today. That's the first time I've drunk for ages. But listen, today's a one-off. You've got to have them. And I've always said I've not cut out alcohol totally. I'm just not having it as part of my regular life. But today, we had a great time, great people. So let's have it.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing today.
Oh, yeah. And it was just... And
Sitting on Bondi Beach.
Tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I've got to work. We've got commitments. We've got to do things. So I won't touch another drop of alcohol now until probably after Saturday night.
Fantastic.
You know?
And how are you finding it over in Australia? Obviously, we don't necessarily get pints. We get like schooners, which are like half pints.
Lightweights. I thought Australian were tough people. Lightweights, although I had pints today at Surffish on the Bondi Beach. They had a proper old-fashioned, you know, the round pints.
Oh, yeah.
They were serving in pints. But I understand why you have the schooners, because of the heat.
I like a schooner. I think it sounds
But
cool.
unfortunately today, the way everyone was drinking who was with, you didn't need a schooner because it was just down.
Straight down.
I've acclimatised, mate. Like I used to drink pints back in the UK, and then come to Australia, I go back to the UK and someone puts a pint in front of me, unless it's a pint of Guinness, someone puts like a pint of lager in front of me, I go, fuck, I can't get through that now. Like,
So if I was gonna drink, if I did drink, it would be a Guinness. I do like a Guinness. Goes down
good.
nice. Yeah.
what's your drink of choice, John?
I like a glass of Sauvignon Blanc. You know, I do like a beer, like a Duvel, like a strong Belgian beer. Forged Irish Stout's nice. Yeah. That's a little bit more creamy than a Guinness.
It's easier to drink.
Yeah, easier to drink, and that's very nice. But I'm not a big drinker. I really aren't. But like today, let myself go a little bit.
Oh, don't be hard on yourself,
No,
man.
I'm not, because I had a good time with my 2 sons, with some people that we'd never met before. And we've now become good friends. Yeah, good people.
Special K and the Taunton Terror.
Australia is a great place. A great place. Great people. And for me, it's the people that make a place. Like, I've been up in Newcastle, and you can tell there's such a community up there. It's only a couple of hours drive, but it's so different to here. And like, they're so Novocastrians, they're so proud of where they come from. And I love that. Do you know what I mean? They don't mean they're having to go at anyone else. They're just proud of where they're from. And I think you should have that feeling of where you're from.
It's like the Six Nations, isn't it? It's the same sort of thing. Everyone's proud, and it's great. We're all different. in our own ways, but we can all have respect with that, and that's what makes the Six Nations
I
great.
think that's what makes Six Nations the best. I think it's the best sporting spectacle.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Of the year.
Yeah, on that very first day of Six Nations, I remember when I was living in the UK, I get more excited on that day than Christmas Day. I'm like buzzing. That first Saturday in early February.
We used to when Johnny Wilkinson was playing, but we don't get that.
It's been a while, Big John. Does he follow you as well?
I don't think he does. He's a bloody boring sod, that Johnny Wilkinson.
He's one of the.
He's a legend.
We watched him.
I've seen him a couple of times.
Well, we never spoke to him, but we was on Twickenham's pitch a few weeks back, and then we saw him doing his interviews, and it's like he doesn't get. He's
still got a bit about him, doesn't he? He's still handsome,
I
isn't he?
remember when he won the World Cup for England, like he didn't single-handedly win it, but I'll never forget that moment.
In Sydney.
Yeah, in Sydney.
In Sydney.
What ground was that? I was thinking about that today. Was that the SCG or?
I think so. Would have been. No.
It wouldn't. Would it? It'd be. It's cricket,
you can't play games there though.
No, but we'll have to find that out, because I was thinking that today, because I was thinking I'd like to go and see it while I'm here.
We've met Neil Back as well, haven't we, from that team.
There's a lot of
Martin Johnson, obviously.
You know, the Ireland team remind me of that England team then.
Yeah.
They know how to win. You know, they've got good players, but they know how to win. And I was a bit surprised like Ireland didn't do better in the World Cup.
When you
final stage, isn't it?
You win the group and you beat South Africa in the group, you win the group and you get drawn against the All Blacks. Oh, great. Cheers.
Yeah.
I've just booked a trip, lads. I'm gonna go. So Ireland are playing two games in South Africa in July.
Are they?
And I've just booked tickets.
Brilliant.
So I'm gonna go first game in Pretoria, second game in Durban. I'm gonna go on safari in that week in the middle.
That'd be brilliant.
What a trip. But that's like the ultimate rugby test. South Africa away. I think you've got a good chance in the first game.
Yeah.
And if you can win that, then...
But South Africa are another team where they beat you by 1 point and just know how to win.
We know that.
I remember watching the semi-final. We were ahead the whole time. It was like 12-6 at half-time or something like that. I thought, we're in for a chance here. I can't believe it.
Last minute.
John, how are you finding the food over here, mate?
I've got to give a big shout out to the Prince of Merryweather. After Johnny wasn't here yet then, and Henry. After the Newcastle show, went to the Prince of Merryweather and they done me a 1.7 kilo Tasmanian... what they call
Tomahawk.
Yeah, I was going to say T-bone tomahawk, and it was absolutely delicious. And I just still keep tasting that now.
Rare, medium rare,
lovely. With like sautéed potatoes, green beans,
sauce.
Peppercorn sauce, and it was lovely with a
fancy steak now.
With a glass of red from the local vineyard, and it was as good. I've eaten in a lot of. I'm lucky enough to have eaten in a lot of good steakhouses. It was up there with the very best. It was unbelievable.
Have you boys had a chicken parma yet?
No, I haven't. I'm not a big fan of it's cheese, isn't it?
Oh, it's like chicken. It's like chicken.
It's
like breaded. It's got some it's got tomato sauce on it, cheese on it.
I've had the pies. I've had the pies. Is it Harry's Cafe de Wheels or something like that? They just do the pies. And I had a chicken curry pie. And
can eat quite healthy here as well, though.
Oh, yeah.
I like all like the juice bars.
Although I'm always honest, I went to Chinatown last night in Sydney and it was rubbish.
It's crap.
Yeah.
You can't get a good Chinese
It
over here.
was all Vietnamese, it was Korean, there was a lot of Chinese massage parlours, but not a lot of Chinese restaurants.
Did you go in them, John?
No. I was really looking forward to a proper sit-down Chinese because I thought it'd be like London Chinatown. And I was very disappointed.
Well, there's a market here now. Someone open up a good Chinese restaurant here.
Yeah. Jeez, there's a few good Indians that popped up.
And a few good Chineses I've learnt from people. They said, but they're sporadically spread around.
Chinatown's no good.
No.
Is that the main thing you're missing then, John, Chinese?
Listen, I can live without it because normally when I'm away I like to eat local stuff and do local things. But I just thought, my hotel's right next to Chinatown. Yeah. So I thought we're going to have a nice Chinese.
Well, that's like the chicken parmi's like the traditional Australian dish.
Yeah.
So you're going to need...
They do that in Middlesbrough as well, don't they, the parmos?
Oh, yeah.
It's big up there.
I think they do, lads. Look, the last thing I want to just touch on tonight, lads, is the relationship between you two. Like, from my perspective, it's great to be able to see a father and his two sons travel all the way over the world off the back of, what you do, John. It's very special. And just seeing the two of you sort of here, it looks like a very strong, very healthy relationship.
But it's not just me and him, it's my two brothers as well. And like, they're my mates. And Hetty as well. But like, talking from a brother's perspective, like, it's great that we're only a couple of years apart, each of us. And it's like, and my dad as well, we go on holiday as mates. Do you know what I mean?
We have a laugh together, we'll argue.
Yeah, we always argue.
We always have an argument, like night before Johnny's fight or 2 nights
Yeah, what
before.
was that?
We always have a row. I don't know. We can never say.
I can't remember.
We have a big row.
We had a row at the Newsall fight, remember, as well?
We have a row every fight. Like it's just saying because he'll be tetchy, and then I say to him, "But we're mates, so you can have a row." And then the next day, you're right as rain.
It's forgotten about the next day. Just
Totally.
hug it out.
Listen, I had a great relationship with my dad, and Johnny had a great relationship with my dad, granddad, and grandson, and that's all you want. It's all you want. Your children. If I can die with one thing, knowing that my kids will get on with me and they all get on with each other, that's important to me. That I'd hate to see brothers fight brothers, argue, properly. I'd always they're going to have their little flare-ups, don't get me wrong, but, I want them to always be there for each other. That means everything to me and my wife.
That's the only thing I think as a family we miss my granddad, because he was only 67 when he passed away, and going to Vegas, he would have loved. He would have been out there from the beginning with me. Being here now, he should be sitting here now at Bondi Beach. He should be here. He should be sitting there.
He should be. He's only been gone 12 years now, but
he would have still in his mid-70s. Like he could have still been here right now. And I
he's
see
a
Jimmy
big part
Tibbs,
of our life.
who's one of my trainers, and he's fit and strong, and he was just taken. And I saw him every day when I was young. I know he's my dad's dad, but he had a good relationship with me as well. And
because we got 3 other children, we used to go football with Emery. Emery was a good footballer, had a lot of football, so my dad used to take Johnny a lot.
To train, boxing training or football matches myself.
And he used to love it, he used to love it. That'd be him, I'll take Johnny.
And no doubt he'd be moaning at a few things that we do and trying to keep us in check like my mum does. And he was a moaner, wasn't he? But an old English moaner, like an old English.
He'd be here now, he'd be here having the time of his life. He'd go, it's too hot.
Yeah.
Or, it's
can't eat that,
can't do this, but he'd love it.
Yeah.
He'd
that's
love
the only
it.
thing, but it's great. We're here and he's watching, so it's all good.
So, John, if he could have seen what's happened over the last 2 or 3 years, what do you think he'd say to you?
He'd be at the forefront of it, and he'd just say how proud he is of Johnny, but how proud of all of our children, because they're all good people, and that's all you can ask for in life. You as a parent bring up your children, and they do as well as they can. We all have our ups and downs, but my dad would he'd be amazed what's happening to me. He'd probably take the mickey. He'd probably say what
he'd
you're
take
doing,
the mick.
but then he'd be at the forefront of it.
Yeah,
he'd probably
take the
be
mick,
up
but
there.
he'd be there every single time.
Yeah, he'd be there.
Fantastic.
So no, it's great. And Australia, wonderful. Hopefully we get to come back, because we haven't been to Brisbane, a lot of Adelaide. So hopefully we can do it again and see other places as well.
It's been great.
Hopefully, mate. Look, that's probably a really good place to leave it, guys. What I want to do to finish the podcast would be a Bondi podcast Bosch. Can we get that, Big John?
Bondi, Bosch.
Thank you very much, lads.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us on.
Cheers.